All right, so today, 24 states have made marijuana legal recreationally. As of this recording on November 28th, 2023, there are actually fewer states in the country where it's still illegal than there are where it's legal in some capacity. That being said, at the federal level, it is still illegal. And for the most part in this country, when it comes to professional and even most amateur sports, it is still considered illegal. We have, however, over the last couple of years, seen a shift where some professional sports leagues specifically are starting to kind of change their tune when it comes to marijuana as a whole, and that started in 2020, in March of 2020 specifically, after COVID hit. And so once COVID hit, we all remember the entire sports world shut down. I'm sure everyone kind of remembers where they were that night when slowly one by one, sporting events were being canceled. Leagues were announcing they were completely shutting down. The NCAA basketball tournament was going on. Conference championships were going on. And leagues were essentially just shutting down in the middle of games as everyone was kind of trying to navigate this new world that we were going to start living in. And so one of the first leagues to come back was the NBA, because the NBA and the NHL still had not finished. They hadn't even completed their regular seasons yet. So the NBA created, as we all remember, this bubble atmosphere in Orlando on the property of Disney World. Basically, in a time where nobody really knew what was going on, the NBA said, hey, we're going to get all our players together. We're going to create this artificial bubble at Disney World, Wide World of Sports. We're going to send everyone there. They're going to test before they get there. They're not going to be able to leave once they get there. We'll bus them to and from to games, and everything's going to be as controlled as humanly possible. And so you can imagine these athletes at the time. It's already stressful enough. They're now being removed from their families in some situations. They're being told that they basically have to isolate themselves, with the exception of when they go play a game. And so, through negotiations with the players and the league, it was determined that just for that time period when they were in the bubble, they were going to relax the rules when it came to marijuana. And so, the NBA players would be able to essentially use weed during the bubble. So now today, not only is weed no longer tested for in the NBA or part of their banned substance list, but now we're starting to see that same thing happen in both Major League Baseball and in the NHL. None of those leagues have marijuana on their banned substance list anymore. The one league that has kind of not followed suit yet is the NFL. However, you would have to imagine with all these other leagues starting to adapt, it'll only be a matter of time until the NHL or the NFL, follows suit, and we could even see that happen as soon as the next CBA negotiations that come up. So obviously, as you can imagine, there are many athletes that are currently playing today that obviously are advocates and are in support of being able to use marijuana. So they're all happy, but you would have to imagine in kind of a better late than never mindset, there are a lot of probably former athletes that are happy to finally see a day come now where marijuana has become more acceptable in sports. You look at guys like Ricky Williams, Calvin Johnson from the NFL, Nate Diaz, UFC fighter, Marshawn Lynch, also former NFL player, and Allen Iverson, former NBA player. They all admitted to, some of them while they were still playing, like Ricky Williams, admitted to using weed during their playing days. They are now all involved in the cannabis industry today in one way or another. Many of them have actually their own strains of marijuana that they sell. For so many of them, the argument is that, marijuana is a healthier, more natural substance for things such as pain management, mental health issues, and so many things that these athletes up until now their only option was potentially dangerous opioids or narcotics, or they may have turned to alcohol to try to help ease the pain, both physically and mentally. And so, their argument being, well, hey, if I can just go back to my house, go back to my hotel room, if I'm on the road, I can smoke a little weed, I can take an edible, I can do something from that nature. It's less harmful on my body, and I'm also less likely to get in trouble as a result of maybe, drinking and driving, or, taking some opioids and it causing problems, or going out and not having that clear frame of mind when you're out. You're less likely to do those things, is a big argument they've had as far as giving reasons why they think that they should be able to use marijuana. So this has been the argument. However, the question now becomes, is there any actual validity to it? And so who better than to ask that question to and further discuss this topic with than Dr. Natalie Clagg, assistant professor of psychiatry at The Ohio State University, and she is going to join us right after the break. We'll be right back.